Did you ever just want to pretend you're Don Quixote, that crazy Spanish knight that thought windmills were dragons? Well, Elden Ring lets you dress up and play as him, with a digital horse, armor, and this awesome weapon, the lance. Yes, this lowly, super long poking stick is one of the best all-around weapons in the game. You can apply dozens and dozens of ashes to it, grease the pole like there's no tomorrow, and even infuse it with magic and incantations. It's insane the many clever ways you can customize this weapon to maximize its deadly efficiency. It excels at combat on horseback. Let's see what it does to this cowboy. Yeah, it kills horses too. But how good is it against the Knight's Cavalry bosses that only come out at night? All of these Black Knights drop ashes of war that you can slap on the lance, so you'll want to kill them all. The lance just destroys them when you land the hits. I'm not the world's greatest cavalry soldier, but it's easy to take these brutes down with a few well-placed hits. Once you get them off their high horse, they're sitting ducks for the Lance of Justice. They get easier to dismount as you get better and stronger. When you've maxed the lance out, the absolute best ash of war to slap onto it is Ice Spear. This skill breaks the game wide open, just makes things so much easier. We'll need 20 strength and 14 dexterity to use it. So in this new game, we'll start off with the Confessor class, as he already has 12 strength and 12 dexterity, leaving us just 10 levels away from being able to use it right away. The lance can be obtained almost as soon as you start the game in Limgrave, lying on a corpse on top of a large stone column. You can just ride right up to it and pick it up. There, it's yours. Then you want to get to work right away, getting all those regular smithing stones to upgrade the lance. Even at this low level, the Chargeforth Ash of War, it comes with kicks ass. Heck, you can keep this ash on and beat the game with it too if that turned you on, but that's not what we're after in this run. We kill this knight's cavalry to get our ice-cold hands on Ice Spear. Here it is. The ice projectile makes it an excellent ranged option. It deals strong magic damage and procs frost, which almost everything is weak to. The skill gets a B scaling in intelligence, which can be boosted in many ways. And finally, it's a reliable stance breaker. You're going to get plenty of critical hit opportunities. Provided, of course, your enemies live long enough to get staggered. It kills most human enemies. Dogs, soldiers, bears, vampire bats, and all those sheep and pigs running around in just one shot. But the big enemies will stagger with 3 or 4 consecutive hits. And down he goes. I spent a lot of time gathering all the materials, upgrades, what have you, before even starting any bosses. Sure, that was tedious, but at level 30 and with a +7 lance, I'm strong enough to make mincemeat out of these early bosses. You can clearly see the ice cloud mist oozing out of his body. Looks like a ghost. While they're in this frost state, they take more damage. It's hard to believe these guys once made me shit my pants. It took me hours to get past these punks the first time. But I'm a retired senior citizen, and except for short trips to the grocery store to get food, I've got plenty of time to run around taking care of business in this awesome make-believe world where I'm the big cheese. If it weren't for Elden Ring, I'm sure I'd be out there robbing banks and getting locked up in some federal penitentiary. That was actually my retirement plan for a while. But then I heard the food at these prisons is pretty bad, so yeah, prison as a retirement option should be your B plan, not your A plan. And they probably wouldn't let me play Elden Ring like I do now. Anywho, here's the big guy going down to my mighty ice lance and my gang of ruthless murderers. The key to this fight is to just rush in there under his legs and get busy ripping up his butthole like hyenas do when they take down their prey. They just start eating their way into the good stuff right through the butthole. Whatever you do, stay away from hyenas. We came pretty close to one-phasing him, but we finish him off within seconds after his crash landing. I'm pretty sure the guys didn't need me to put the final nail in the coffin. But what the heck? I'm feeling pretty frisky by now. This is such a satisfying weapon to use, and I just love the way the big bosses explode in that puff of white, sparkly smoke. Unfortunately, I have to say goodbye to my good friend Alexander, who just gave his life to help me out here. This game makes you do all kinds of terrible things. But life's a bitch and all that jazz. Whatever. I need that shard. Thanks, buddy. I'm pretty sure Blade the Half-Wolf just saw me murder him. Yeah, he definitely saw that. But there are no cops in this godforsaken land, so I'm pretty confident I'll get away scot-free. But not this guy. He's going to be the next sacrificial lamb to my ruthless quest for world domination. I suppose if I were as ruthless in real life as I am here in this game, I'd be the king of North America by now. Or rich or famous or something. Anything other than the old man I am today. At least we can all live interesting, dangerous, and awesome lives as a lowly tarnished in this world of ones and zeros. And so the Iceman cometh for you, Mr. Tree Sentinel, and the horse you rode on too. I wake up every day thanking Jesus for those geniuses at From Software who created this phenomenal proxy of the real world. God bless those wild and crazy guys. I'm addicted to that beautiful boom sound whenever an enemy gets staggered. It's epic. They must have thought of a bunch of other sound effect to apply for this, but they nailed it with this one. And that cracking sound they make when they die. It reminds me of a twig being snapped in two. It's definitely the sound of something breaking, and in this case, it's this big yellow man who claimed to be the first Elden Lord. Here comes that rewarding stagger sound effect. It's just so rewarding. A dopamine rush like crack and booze and cigarettes and freak-offs and McD's dollar menu items. Here's an example where the long pole has the advantage. The ice spear bullet just closes that gap. Alright, now at level 73 and with the mighty lance at plus 17, I'm ready for everybody's favorite crazy, grumpy, fire-breathing uncle of a giant. In my early newbie stage, way back like 3 years ago when this game first came out, this psycho giant almost made me consider giving up. Yeah, I confess this guy nearly broke me. Not even my 2 ex-wives were able to do that. But this guy, yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. But now that I'm probably the world's greatest senior citizen Elden Ring gamer, he's just a chore. A task to check off my list of things to do on my way to becoming the new Elden Lord Areno for the umpteenth time. The ice spear on his bum leg mercilessly brings him to phase 2 in very little time. But you have to respect the big guy even though he seems like he's out of it. This run only took me 2 tries to kill him. Can't imagine how many deaths this guy has caused worldwide. Has to be in the millions. He's a mass murderer. But he can't help himself, that's just how he was programmed. Of all the bosses in this greatest game of all time, I wish I could just hang out with the fire giant, you know, bring him to the round table and party, get drunk, smoke a few doobies. First question I'd ask him is, are there any female fire giants? You know, if there's a fire giant dude, there's gotta be a fire giant babe. There just has to be. I'm sure he wasn't hatched. Anyway, it's too bad we can't just sit down and shoot the breeze instead of having to fight to the death every time. But that's the nature of these games. No time for idle chit-chat. Let's just all get to killing. I love it. You kinda have to feel sorry for the big old man. Just look at him crawling around like a big baby. It's so undignified. And I guess I'm responsible for having crippled him. Such a violent game, beating up on invalid giants. He was just standing around minding his own business when I trespassed on his lawn. Hell, I'd chase kids off my lawn too, if I had a lawn. I don't have a lawn. Anyway, I finally put the old crippled man out of his misery with one of those powerful black balls of death. Another one bites the dust. And despite all the mayhem, death, and violence in this world, there are always moments like this. Quiet, contemplative, and beautiful scenes of wonder and amazement at the brilliance of this make-believe world that disappears when you shut your PS4 down. But then we're snapped back to the reality of this make-believe world with the ruthless struggle for survival against the caped duo. These creepy fellows totally freak me out. I can't stand even looking at them. They're grotesque, even in a world of grotesque creatures. I think their robes made of the skin of people is just barbaric, really. Sick. Sick. dudes. What monstrosities. And I'm sorry, folks, that name, godskin, it's just blasphemous. These heretics must be killed. But it's not all their fault. According to the lore, they were raised by an Empyrean god named the Glomide Queen. There's not even a picture of this monstrous mom, just this symbol. Yeah, their mom was a symbol. And get this, she cradled the newborn godskin apostles in a swaddling cloth made from patches of supple skin sewn together. Nice job, Mom. Way to completely screw these guys up. Turned them into twin Buffalo Bills from Silence of the Lambs. But yeah, like all of us, the godskin duo, for all their despicableness, are just victims of childhood trauma, like we all are to some degree. Anywho, enough of that sentimental jibber-jab. All I want from these freaks is that final smithing stone bell bearing to fully upgrade the mighty lance to plus 25 for the endgame bosses coming up. I hate this crazy boss. I just haven't got the time for his frenetic, hypersonic, maniacal gymnastics. In fact, I never fight him directly. Instead, I run behind this pillar right here like a coward and breathe some stinky rot breath on him. And Malekith is going to die in 1, 2, 3 blasts from the Ice Spear and a final riposte. Fastest boss so far. The mighty lance is at its peak. The all-knowing Ofnir is now about to get a taste of its icy goodness in a minute. He's like a Mexican jumping bean spraying magic shit everywhere if you don't take him out quick enough. But even his impressive and nimble tumbling exercises can't outrun the power and reach of the Ice Spear homing missiles that take him out of action. Yes, Mr. Know-It-All, a man can become an Elden Lord. Just you watch. Oh, wait. Sorry. I forgot. You're dead and can't watch me do this. Those are the breaks, pal. Life is one dirty bit of business. And someone takes the clothes right off your back. All right, I'm at level 100 now, and I've come this far without one of the most important talisman that cranks up the magic power of the Lance's Ice Spear. I've used the magic-shrouded cracked tear in my flask, but I've been missing the magic scorpion charm. This talisman raises magic attacks 12% in exchange for less damage negation. It's a fair trade-off for more punch to the Ice Spear's frosty power, and I'll need every ounce of ice power to beat the last bosses. So I embark on that long, tedious quest to get it from this creep after I kill this other creepy guy in the dungeon. Yeah, we all know what it's like beating your head against the wall, but life's full of boring, thankless, but important jobs, like garbage collectors. Someone has to do it. But hey, I mean business here. My sophisticated and dedicated fans demand I show the power of the lance to the fullest, and you deserve no less. And I've got 3 weeks to go before I see another social security check. So there it is. Here's the damage count on Charlie the Troll without the tear and magic charm, and here's the damage count with the tear and magic charm. That's almost 400 more points of damage, so yeah, it's worth the trouble. To fight Horalu at level 119, I thought I'd make it way easier on myself by bringing along my favorite skeletal bodyguards, the Great Shield soldiers you find down in Nokron, the Eternal City. These guys will surround the madman like a wall of steel. They pelt him with ghost flame bombs. These guys are completely selfless. They just charge and kill at whatever is in the room. Meanwhile, I just sit back and fill him full of ice harpoons. It's just way too easy. Just like I like it. Who wants to work? I don't. That's why I retired. Working hard is for all you youngsters out there interneting and linking in and all that nonsense. I'm the laziest man alive. I want this fight over as soon as possible so I can take a quick nap between bosses or make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a tall glass of cold milk. Man, that stuff is so good. As you can see, this fight took just over a minute to put to bed. I love those skeleton guys. Next to the Mimic tier, they are your best witchcraftian buddies. Rest up, my bony friends. We got 2 more punks to put down. These are the best employees any employer could ever wish for. No pay, they just show up and get to work. No loitering or malingering as they call it in the military. They just get to work harassing whatever happens to be in the room. No questions asked. If I had 50,000 of these guys, I could take over the world. They will always win the Employee of the Month award wherever they work. Look at how the ice spear shoots him down like a surface-to-air missile. Just beautiful. They keep the poor guy penned in while I just punish and punish and punish him. It's like a beautifully choreographed dance of death. Look at them beating their shields. They want more. Hold on, fellas. We got the big slug coming up. This fight is worse than the fire giant when it comes to chasing the boss around this massive arena. I mean, the size of this place is like an airport. I know you can use torrent for this fight now. I tried it like once, but somehow it felt unnatural. It's like part of the satisfaction of this fight is just surviving all that running around and dodging and somehow surviving. And so here I am, slowly waiting for this thing to do something before I can close in for a few good hits and rinse and repeat. Sometimes you get good RNG, but sometimes he just spams Elden stars or jumps around like he's jacked on Diet Coke. This fight is pretty average as far as RNG go. The mighty lance will stagger him before long, and you can get a nice riposte or two to wear him down. The skellies are doing pretty good so far. They won't make it to the end. They can withstand any physical damage, but the holy shit this slug spits out just wipes them out. I'm surprised they made it this far, those lovable bag of bones. I couldn't believe the ending of this fight. I fall into the beast's clutches. He nearly squeezes all the life out of me. I stupidly drink from the wrong flask like the senile senior citizen I am, and then we both annihilate one another at exactly the same time. Dang, that's just nuts. Oh well, it counts, and I'll take it. I'm exhausted with all that running around. I need a nap. All right, I'm back from my nap now. I'll just scamper over there and collect my cool $500,000 or runes or whatever you call that pile of dough. Whoa, Nelly. I wish I could spend that wad on freak-offs in real life. A guy could purchase a lot of baby oil for that kind of money. But I almost forgot about one last bad guy. The Lord of Blood. What a name. I wonder if I could legally change my name to Lord of Blood. I think I'd rather be known as the Lord of Blood than, say, the King of Rock. Anywho, this guy needs to go so I can scamper over to the DLC to pick up some shopping items to bring back to this neighborhood. I don't know about you, but I much rather prefer the base game world to the DLC world. The DLC is less familiar and less interesting, for me anyway. The DLC world is mostly empty and lonely, and I play Elden Ring all day, so I'm always in a funk when I'm playing there. So I've only beaten the DLC 5 or 6 times, and that was mostly to get all the cool new stuff to bring back here to play with. I enjoyed the DLC, don't get me wrong, though not as much as the base game. I treat the DLC like Elden Ring's stepchild, you know, a family member, but not really all that close and well-liked. But I am what I am, and the entire world has lost all sense of shame anyway. Just look around you. I'm utterly shameless, but I'm old, and you will be too one day. But the lance makes pretty much any fight a lot easier, and its long, strong, powerful shaft of piercing stiffness. Well, come on guys. Don't we all want to wield something like this? I know I do. I'm a shameless old man. Yes, I am. And just like that, there are no more barriers to keep us from the next world ahead. And just look at all that loot I just found there lying on the blood-soaked ground. Freak off time, baby. Hey, I have very dry old man skin. I do. I think she's way overdressed. I mean, look at me. I'm in my sackcloth bikini and she's all covered up head to foot. What a prude. Well, that's taken care of. Now I can go wrap up this run with my coronation as the new Elden Lord Puba.
Our seed will look back upon us and recall the age of the mighty lance ice spear.
Well, there you have the saga of the mighty lance and the ice spear. It was quite a blast. It took me just under 30 hours to complete this run at an old man's pace. Old man still got it? This weapon and its skill set is just a joy to use. Just look at how long it is. It's like 10 feet long. The Charge Forth Ash of War is just as fun to use, and I may do a run with just that. Thanks for watching. Help me out with a sub down there or something if you like. Have you seen the prices on peanut butter and jelly nowadays? I mean, give an old gamer a break. I'm going to go lay down for a nap now. I'm pooped. Take good care of yourselves if you want to reach retirement age like me and live large on your social security checks while playing video games all day. Living the dream, folks. Living the dream. May the guidance of grace light your path.